Thank you so much, Andy Harrington, coming in live. Thank you so much for joining the I Have a Dream show today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
It's absolutely brilliant. We've had some great response, Andy. You're really, really well known in UK as a teacher of public speaking and things like that. So, well, it's been kind of an extraordinary journey. I mean, you started off in a call center, and you made like over 60 million euros in business. I mean, that's a really big leap. So if we can just go into your story a little bit, and if you can walk us through exactly how did that happen? I mean, did you go through the normal route of education? Did you go to school? What was your family like? If we can take you back to your childhood a little bit, what was your upbringing like?
Well, I was born in London.
Yes.
We lived there till we were 7, and then we moved to Kent.
Right.
Unfortunately, my parents divorced when I was around 13 years old, which is pretty traumatic.
Right.
And, you know, like really like a lot of kids that happens to, I guess I didn't really feel I had a place to belong.
Right.
And that was quite challenging for me. But as I look back now, I think that in life you only grow from challenge, not necessarily support. So, you know, it's good to have a balance of support and challenge. So clearly I was potentially marked out for some challenge to grow and to change and develop in some way. And actually, I left school with pretty much no qualifications at all.
Right.
I actually started out work not in a call centre, but actually in a hardware store originally.
Right.
And I graduated to work in a supermarket stacking shelves. Later on, when I was 21, I moved into working for Churchill Insurance.
Right.
In a call centre. And I left there after working there about 7 years. And then I left there to start a business of my own. I didn't have any money to start this business, mind you. I borrowed £10,000 from the Abbey National. I told them I was going to buy a car with the money because they wouldn't let me. Well, no one would lend me any money to start a business, but they'd lend me money to buy a car. So that's what I told them, and then I used that as seed capital. Went to another business bank and said, "Hey, I've saved up all these 10,000. Look at this. I'm a very good risk." And borrowed 10,000 more from NatWest as an overdraft facility, and started my first business. That was an IT.
Before we get into how you actually started business, I want to know a little bit about your emotional state when I'm taking you back a little bit more again. You know, when your family breaks up and you haven't got that stability, and you look, isn't that encouraging? Going towards the streets. I mean, some people might be on the show that have got no hope. I mean, maybe they've actually, they've hit the streets and they don't know how to get out of it, but they want to. How did you actually stay away from going astray, so to speak?
I don't know, really. I didn't actually stay away from trouble. I ended up being a drug addict for 10 years, so I can't say I didn't. Well, I suppose I hit the streets, as it were, but I definitely hit the rails, if that's a better word, and did. In my 20s, I was pretty lost. I was living in a bedsit in Beckenham in Kent, which was pretty bad. Just one bed in the corner and a shower that only had cold water. I guess that was my life for 10 years. But I was lucky enough, I suppose, to get myself out of that by using some of the NLP techniques that I discovered while I worked at Churchill, because I was held down a job while I did this, but it was obviously affecting me a lot. So I managed to get myself out of it, and all this was just growth for where I am today, if you like. So
exactly. I mean, when you hit the call center, do you think you felt that you were bigger than that, because you pick up things around you? Is that how it was with you when you're working? Why didn't you carry on working in the call center? What woke you up?
That's what drove me away from working for the supermarket in the first place.
Right.
And yeah, I guess I established myself. But then, after 7 years of doing that, you kind of get to a place where you realise, well, you think at least you've outgrown the company.
Right.
Because what I wanted to do was, I saw the big challenges in the organisation which I wanted to change, but that really involved changing how some of the managers operated, and of course at that level, as I wasn't at that level, that didn't really work. So I wasn't really liked very much for some of the things I was saying, which really was the beginning of me being a bit controversial, I suppose, which I guess I've made my hallmark of being someone who says things that aren't easy to hear.
Right.
try and wake people up and to create change, if you like. Change is messy. It's not easy.
Yes, that's totally understandable. Guys, I'm sorry. I know some of you are saying that you can't use the chat box. That's fine. Just email me at ihaveadreamshow@gmail.com. Yeah, so get that because I've got that on my mobile. So sorry about that. But yeah, just keep the questions coming in and I'll answer your questions as we go along. But Andy, I mean, so did you have any inspiration there? I mean, at the call center, was there anyone that inspired you? That you maybe thought, okay, I can do something like that myself. Because when you outgrow a company and you're hitting records and you're hitting your targets and things, you obviously want to do more. Sometimes you actually think that you can actually do better by starting your own company, and that kind of awakening happens. Was there something like that happened?
I guess really it was just becoming familiar with the work of Tony Robbins, like many people.
Right.
So that was what really, I guess, inspired me. That was the beginning of the spark, although having attended his at that time, it was the Power to Influence seminar, which he doesn't run anymore.
Right.
It was only sort of partially received by the company as a way forward, if you like. So again, you know, I kind of was inspired by him, but wasn't really able to implement some of those ideas into the organisation.
Right. Excellent. So you thought about starting your own business and you went for a loan, which I think this is the main kind of problem people go for, like, you know, where do I get the startup capital? So you say you went to the bank for a loan for a car, right? And that's how you got it. So what happened after that?
After that, we for about 4 months, we didn't make any money. We were just, you know, trying to make money, and then we made our first deal after 4 months.
What was the business?
It was IT recruitment.
Right. Okay.
It was about making placements for IT consultants in a very niched area. I didn't really have any experience of this. It was just a friend of mine was doing it, and we thought that'd be a good business to do, so that's what we did. And, you know, we just steadily grew the business. You know, we didn't have much capital to begin with, as I say, but we grew it steadily and brought more salespeople on as we could afford them and support staff, etc. And, you know, within 5 years, we've done 21 million in revenue, and today, even though I don't own the business now, it's turned over about more than 80 million.
Wow. Okay. And what challenges did you actually face in that business? I mean, what kept you going? Because obviously there's certain things that you have to learn while you progress, and some days you get nothing at all. What keeps you going at that time and not give up?
I don't know, really. Just you know, you have successes and you try to build upon those, and you have your downturns. I know we had one time where we had our office broken into and all the computers stolen, most of our data. So that was tough.
Yeah.
You know, and it's difficult, you know, but you keep going because, you know, well, for me, I had children that started at this time, so it's a case of needing to provide. So I always think that, you know, when your children, specifically when they're younger, it's your greatest earning years normally, for a man at least, definitely, because that will to provide kicks in.
Yes.
And that's such a powerful drive. You know, we always say that, you know, that we do things because we have a big enough reason to do them. And I think, you know, at least for me, definitely having children provided that real drive to provide that I didn't really have before, and that's why I guess I did the things I did in my 20s, because I didn't have any reason not to.
Right.
I had no motivating driving force, no reason why, no purpose.
Yes.
So like a lot of young men at that age, you kind of just live weekend to weekend, you know, just doing stupid stuff really because you don't have a reason not to.
Yeah. So I think what happened with you is a lot of personal development goes on in this stage as well. So you mentioned Anthony Robbins. You have to rewrite your blueprint, Andy. You know, I mean, you know what you went through in your childhood and the hardships you faced, they kind of get imprinted in. So how did you recognize there was to overwrite them and actually move forward? I mean, do you think it was because you were a father that maybe your awareness increased, or what was it? How do you overwrite these kind of habits that build up? Or, you know, some people don't even know that they're built up, but how did you recognize them?
Well, listen, my belief is that you don't have to go through personal development in order to change and improve. Personal development is essentially a synthetic thing that we create because we don't have the vehicle to do it in our own personal lives.
Right.
You know, people's lives, people develop personally without the need to go to a seminar. It's just, are you living in an environment that's causing you to grow and to shape all the time, that your old skin sheds anyway? I'm doing what we've always done. If you keep on, you know, just doing the same habits, the same activities, not pushing yourself, not taking risks, then obviously you're going to keep the same psychology you've currently happened. You know, those old neuro connections, if you like, those old patterns of behavior fell away because they were replaced by having to do other things instead. You know, you can't change your behavior. You can't stop smoking, for example. You've got to start doing something else.
Right.
And, you know, for me, it wasn't a case of stopping doing drugs. It was a question of starting doing something else that was way more fulfilling for me.
Excellent point.
That gave me a feeling of more significance and met all my needs in a much higher quality.
Question, actually, I think this is a really awesome one. She's saying, how did Andy accept wealth? I mean, having so much money coming to the business, how did he actually believe it's possible? So I think I understand the question. It's basically like, you know, when you go achievable, how did you actually overcome that? Was there any kind of exercises you did in visualization, or how do you believe like $1 million a year is possible, or $1 million a month is possible?
Yeah, again, I didn't go through any exercises to dream that up or to visualize it.
Yes.
It's really an incremental thing in that here's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to make enough money so that the feeling of not having enough goes away.
Right.
So that for everyone, there's not the amount of money in your bank account that when your bank account gets to that number or close to that number, you start freaking out and start getting motivated again. And what everybody wants is they want to make enough money so that feeling never happens again.
Right.
And here's the truth. You can't get rid of it. It keeps on following you.
Right.
All that happens is the number goes up.
Right.
And so what I mean by that is, like, you know, years ago it was like, okay, so I'm down to my last £50, and now I might be down to I'm down to my last million or something, right? So it's all basically relative to where you are.
Right.
In terms of you know, making the money, accepting it, I was lucky enough. Firstly, I was a salesperson, so I was at least somewhat in control of my destiny within a certain parameter to how much money I made, because, you know, I think sales is a great thing for people to get into, because
I was going to say, it's such a skill. Yes.
You realise that, you know, you're making this money for your employer because of your actions, and then you're foolish enough to think, well, actually, if I have something to sell of my own, I can make more money.
Yeah.
It's true, but you then forget about all the other things that you take for granted that you don't have to pay for as well, and all the other activities you have to do that you take for granted. So, you know, but I guess I was just foolish enough to think that I could do it, you know, and brave enough to think I could do it. But I didn't really have like this, oh, I want to be a millionaire or anything like that. It was too short term for that. It was really just survival to begin with, you know, and taking that leap of faith and knowing, you know, I've got to pay the bills this month.
Right.
But, you know, just constantly doing the activities that lead to those things, taking risks, being brave enough, believing in yourself, all those things are all important.
What about uncertainty, though, Andy? Because a lot of people don't take risks because they're uncertain of what will happen. How did you deal with that? Because if you leave a job, for instance, you don't have a paycheck next month. You know, you've got bills coming in, but you have got no idea where the money's going to come from. So, what is that faith that you need?
You need to basically remove your safety net.
Right.
Some people think you should try to succeed slowly with your feet planted in two worlds, as in, you know, I could always go back to my job. That's the safety net thing. Well, when I left Church Insurance, there was a meeting, a gathering, if you will, around the sales floor for just a few people to say goodbye. I think I got a nice bottle of aftershave after 7 years. That was nice.
Lucky, you're lucky.
and I said thanks to everybody, but then I said something deliberately. I said the reason I'm leaving is because I believe I've outgrown this place. And there was an eerie silence, and afterwards people were saying, you know, he's big-headed, who the hell does he think he is? Yeah. The reason I did that was twofold, really. Number one, because it was true, and I knew there were some people there that really needed that wake-up call themselves, but also because I'd seen people leave Churchill and come back 3 months later with their tail between their legs asking for their job back because they'd hit a road bump. Well, see, I made a decision to burn that bridge. I couldn't leave and come back having said that.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. All the time, you're focusing on, the safer option. You have to take away all the other options. You have to commit. And I know that's almost in some ways a dangerous thing to do. I'm sure some people would advise against it.
Yes.
What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is you win or you learn. But you'll never learn if you're with your feet planted in two worlds with a safe option, with a safety net back.
Yes.
If you look at most entrepreneurs that have really succeeded, they'll tell you they survive with their back against the wall. Yes. That's the best learning of all. You don't want to get rid of that learning. You have to. The only certainty that you need is that, like with all things, you figure it out. I learned to drive a car, frankly, when I was 17 and pretty stupid. And I learned to do something that was very complicated, but it involved the risk of dying. And even if I was good at it, there was still a risk of dying if somebody else wasn't good at it on the other side of the road. But I did it, and the reason was because it was a must for me to drive a car, because the alternative, which is being dependent on public transport, dependent on other people to get around, didn't feel like a good option. So the only option was to learn to drive a car. And if people behave the same way about becoming financially free, rich, to walk was the same thing. We didn't have the coordination, the muscle strength, the balance, or any of those things to be able to learn to walk. But it was a must for us growing up as a kid, when we were little and couldn't even speak, because that's what everybody else was doing. If you're looking to succeed and model success, then it's different, because whereas all the adults were walking and you wanted to walk, not everyone around you is successful and financially independent. And so there's not that huge need to belong to this group, because this group you don't see every day.
Yes.
So what you have to do is you have to search it and find that group. There's a small number of people that are succeeding, and what you have to do is not follow the masses, but follow the few.
Excellent. Do you know what? There's so many good lessons in what you just said. There's so many things in between you've said. I mean, the power of decision is so important. Having a strong decision, the willpower behind that as well, burning bridges, and also surrounding yourself with successful people so you can actually feed off them and make sure that you're growing as well, and you've got that kind of company around you to keep you going as well. So that's absolutely fantastic. Now, Andy, we've got a question coming in. We've got I can't pronounce Janua. Janua, sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but Janua, thank you very much for joining the I Have a Dream show. Can you ask Andy, how does he see sales as being? Does that make? I don't really understand how. I think what she said, what she or he is saying is how do you see sales? Because it's kind of like car sales is kind of like creepy, but I think that's how people perceive sales to be, like kind of creepy.
It's a great question, and one that's very, very important to me, the answer. Here is the answer.
Yes.
The question comes because, selling can get itself a bad name, because we've all been in situations where it felt pressurized or sold something we didn't really want, etc.
Yes.
But here's the truth. Selling is about solving someone's problem. Yeah. Look, if you're a business owner, you have to sell something for a profit in order to make money. And what you're selling is only and always ever a solution to someone's problem. Mm-hmm. If I was selling antiperspirant, well, then I'm selling a solution to a problem called sweaty armpits.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't feel bad about, if someone had sweaty armpits, I would do everything in my power to get this person to buy the antiperspirant to change not only their lives, but the other people's lives around them. Does that make sense? So you have to discover what are the problems that you want to solve for your tribe, your audience, your customers, however words you want to use to describe it. But essentially, you come up with a solution to a problem.
Right.
You then go and find the people that have that problem, and you provide that product or service to solve that problem. So why would anybody feel bad about that? Because ultimately, here's what you need to know and remember, is that people that have lots of money, well, there's always going to be caveats to this, but generally speaking, the people that have got the most money, guess what? They have helped the most people.
Excellent.
And that is the fundamental truth. Because look, before we had money, what do we have? We had bartering, we had exchange. So, you know, if there wasn't money existing, let's say, okay, I help someone with their public speaking, and the guy is a gas man, so he fixes my boiler. Well, that's all very well, but if I don't need my boiler fixed right now, and he wants the public speaking, then I have to give him the public speaking, and he writes me a note called an IOU, as in I owe you the fixing of your boiler. Now, obviously, that wasn't a very effective way to keep on trading, so then we came up with this concept of money to replace the IOU note. So what it means is, if you think about it, if someone's got 1 million, notes in their bank account, they are owed 1 million £1 favours. Does that make sense? It means that they have helped a lot of people already. Now, that doesn't mean that you, if you don't have lots of money, aren't a nice person, don't help lots of people. What it means is you haven't organised the helping in such a way that you can help lots and lots and lots of people all at the same time, because you've figured out the distribution, you've figured out the leveraging, you've systemized things to be able to help lots of people without you having to physically do it all the time, because there's a limit to how much you can do by yourself, just you, in 24 hours. And that's the same. And if you work for a company, then you are a cog in a wheel of a machine that solves problems for somebody. Bottom line, even if you're not directly in sales, you work for a company that's
ultimately solving problems.
Which is ultimately solving problems for people. And you have to decide, well, okay, that's a big learning experience for all of us to learn how business works. But ultimately, if you want to make more money, you have to be at the top of the tree.
Now, excellent point there, Andy. I want to highlight the word leverage. Now, you say it's brilliant. You lay out your foundation. You find a problem in the industry, whatever industry that you're in. You find the pain points and the frustrations of the person, and you solve it, right? Now, how do you scale it? I would say the internet, but is there something that you would actually suggest? How did you scale your business from helping 100 people? Obviously, how much effort can you make with that? How do you scale it to thousands and thousands of people around the world?
Works to do that, depending on what it is that you're selling.
Yes.
If you're selling a widget type product, then you've got to figure out the distribution of that product.
Right.
If you say that's what you do, that's the key. You've got to systemize it, which means, every time you do something, you've got to try and do it in such a way that it's either leveraged in the future, either by technology and or another person. Meaning, you as the business owner, I guarantee that people listening in right now that are entrepreneurial, one-man bands, people that are trying to make it as a solopreneur, for example, I guarantee one thing that's holding them back, and that is they're trying to do most of the work themselves. They're still trying to do everything in the business mostly themselves.
Yes.
And all you've really done is become self-employed, and as Robert Kiyosaki would say, that's not a business owner, you're just self-employed, which just is a glorified employee.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is this.
Yeah.
You have to figure out what are, let's say, the 7 things that you do that you are uniquely qualified to do that nobody else could do, and everything else that's on your list that you're not uniquely qualified to do, that you couldn't get somebody else to do or you couldn't systemize, you have to offload it. You have to employ somebody else to do it, and or you have to outsource it, or you have to forget doing it altogether.
Right.
Because you can't do it. Your list is getting bigger and bigger every single day to the point you'll eventually go completely mad trying to solve the problems on your list. So again, you have to take the brave, decision that all good entrepreneurs have to make at some point, and that is to employ someone.
Did you get that, guys?
You have to employ someone. Every time that you answer emails, do administrative work, you are paying yourself effectively the cost that you're worth.
Yes.
Let's say £23,000 a year whilst you're doing that work, because that's what it costs you to get a good administrative person to do that work for you. So you're effectively saying, that's what I do. I'm an administrator, which means you're not getting to do the higher grade work of marketing, of branding, positioning, selling. You're not doing those tasks. So you've got to first start offloading the sort of lower level tasks.
Yes.
Not to diminish the value of someone who does administrative work, But you as the business owner cannot be doing administrative work. That is not what it's not what will make your business successful. You've got to find. Now you might say to yourself, "But that's all right for you, Andy, to employ these people. You've got the money to do that." Well, I didn't when I started. I employed someone just as soon as I could afford it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then that paid off, because the news is, if you employ an admin person doing admin work, basically you're going to pay them around, let's say, £1,700–1,800 a month. I don't know what you're selling, but effectively, if you're selling something that's £1,000, then you've got to make 2 sales over 30 days by not doing admin. 2 more sales to pay for that person. If you can't back yourself to do that, then you're in the wrong business.
Excellent. And another point, Andy, I think really important what you mentioned is that people need to reinvest in their business as well. It's like when they make the money, they tend to go on a holiday or, just go and increase their lifestyle and not actually get like the kind of income flowing first, outsourcing and building a team and still doing income producing, not doing income producing activities, doing $10 per hour jobs and things like that. So I think that's totally right what you're saying. Excellent. So Andy, we've got another question coming in. We've got someone saying, okay, this is a bit about passion that we want to kind of talk about a little bit. It's Verma. Thank you very much, Verma, for joining the show today. She's asking, she's got a unique business when it comes to hand making dolls. It's her passion, but she can't seem to understand how to expand it, and she's asking you, how can she actually profit from this business? Is it worth pursuing? How do you know when to stop, or how do you know when to actually build it?
She has 2 ways to leverage.
Yeah.
She can either take all the knowledge and know-how that's in her head of how to do these handmade dolls, and she can teach other people that she employs to be able to produce the work at exactly the same quality, or at least near to the same quality. She may be a perfectionist, which is a problem, but she can deal with that. So she can then basically, because at the moment all that knowledge is in her head, and the only way she leverages it, her ability is only leveraged when she puts her hand on the doll and makes it.
Yes.
Now, there's no way she's going to scale that business. That business will not scale bigger than it is already unless she gets her hands off of the dolls and gets her ability into somebody else's head who she employs to be able to replicate what she does. Same thing for me. I'm a great trainer and speaker of public speaking and all the other entrepreneurial things that we teach. But, my business is going to, whilst I can still scale my business because I can speak one-to-many, I can only do 1 speech a day or 2 speeches a day, for example, and I can't be in Johannesburg and Canada at the same time.
Yes.
So, I had to take the decision to hire and train up some other people to be able to do what I do. Look, at the end of the day, yeah, I can make it all about Andy Harrington, the celebrity, and people want to come and see Andy Harrington, but that's not a great business model. Yeah. If you look at 2 people that most people in this industry will know, Tony Robbins and Stephen Covey. Tony Robbins, brilliant, amazing, love him, speaking alongside him 3 times this year, incredible guy.
Yes.
But everyone wants Tony, nobody wants his trainers. Now look at Stephen Covey.
Yes.
Now look at Stephen Covey. Well, he's no longer here, obviously, unfortunately he's died, but guess what? His teachings are still here. Now, why is that? Because he put together a system, and he made it about his system, not about himself, right. And he was able to license that material to be taught in businesses all around the world. So there was 2, and she could do this as well as, or instead of, and that is, don't even employ somebody else to do it. Don't even make the dolls yourself. Just start teaching the knowledge to anyone.
Good point.
Just put stuff together online that teaches people around the world how to make dolls. You never make another doll. Well, you do, but you make them while you show them, right, online.
Yeah.
You make a series of videos about people that make these dolls, if there's a market for it. So rather than having to produce the dolls yourself, you're not even producing a doll anymore. You're just selling the knowledge that's in your head. That's it.
Excellent. And it's information age as well, isn't it, Andy? I mean, we're living in information age. That's how you kind of leverage your effort. I mean, I think this is what you've done as well. You've got information products where you just produce once, and then you can just kind of sell the course online wherever anyone is in the world.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the big key here is intellectual property. It's basically taking your knowledge and know-how and turning it into an asset. Look, income follows assets. You know, that basically means, you know, if you want to make money in business, you have to create assets. You can't just make a business that just makes sales. You've got to generate assets in the business. So, for example, a book is an asset. So you create it once and it works for you forever and a day. You know, your courses, your information products, they're all assets. And if you're going to sell your business at some point in the future, guess what the person's interested in when they buy your business? They're buying an asset. And therefore, if your business is an asset, it must contain assets within the business. So that means not only, you know, creating products like these that become information marketing products, it also means documenting all of your policies and procedures that you run inside the business as well, turning those into step-by-step procedures too, because ultimately, if someone comes in and wants to buy your business in the future, and by the way, you want to be organizing your business so you sell it in the future, otherwise you're not in business for the right reason at all. You definitely want to create it so you can sell it, because there'll definitely come a time where you probably want to, even though you're very passionate about it today, you probably do want to sell it at some point in the future, or at the very least you want to step back from it somewhat.
Yes.
Then the person's going to be buying a business which is going to be a systemized business. It needs to have documented procedures, because if you walk away, or your best employees walk away with all that knowledge in their heads, rather than down on paper in a system of how we do something, then of course no one's going to buy your business, because their fear is that all of the intellectual property is going to walk out the door as soon as you do.
Right, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for that, Andy. Now we've got some questions pouring in about the passion. Okay, how do you find a passion? So I'm just going to mention a few names that I've actually mentioned this kind of question. So we've got Julia Sanson, we've got the Jasia, we've got Zara, we've got Lila. Thank you guys for asking this question. It's kind of the same lines, but it's like, how do you find the passion to do something? I mean, if you've got no idea, you want to start a business and you want to do it online or whatever it is, how do you find the passion versus the demand as well? Because there's a fine line. You can't just go out and do something when no one wants it, even if you're passionate about it. So where's the fine line when it comes to marketing research, a need for the product, and also following your passion with it?
Listen, in terms of firstly, you know, finding your passion, you don't find your passion. You don't sit at home going, oh, what's my passion? That's the problem. You've got to do something with passion. Passion isn't the thing. Passion's inside of you.
Right.
I can make love passionately. I can write a book passionately. You know, I can, you know, watch the TV passionately if I want to. It's not where do I find my passion. You're looking in the wrong freaking place. It's inside of you.
Yeah.
Do something with passion, and even if it's not, you know, something you're highly passionate about, do it with passion anyway, because getting into a passionate state is where you then discover where you sit and where your real niche becomes. But you're not going to sit there being dispassionate. Get passionate, and then what will happen is you'll then do everything you do with passion. Don't just do one thing with passion. Do every damn thing with passion.
Right.
And then you don't have to go, where's my passion? Because you're living in it every single freaking day. Does that make sense?
That's clear, very clear. Right, so I mean, I'll give you an example, Andy. Like, say, for instance, public speaking is a very, very good area to get into. It's a lot of money in it. But if someone's not really keen on doing it, should they create the passion for it? Should they understand that it's something that they can really work with and find an area in it that they... I mean, how do you develop the passion for that? I understand the questions. I mean, I do kind of think, how do you build a passion for something that you don't really want to do? But there's a lot of money in it, and it can help a lot of people as well. There's a fine line, you know. How do you...
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Basically, don't do it. if you can't find even one little tiny bit of passion, just don't bother, right? Just don't do it. There are so many things to do in the world that, you know, that you don't, you know, unless you've got, you know, see... Here's an example. You know, a lot of people are afraid of public speaking, and they can go to somebody to stop being afraid of public speaking. I don't work with those people. I'm not interested in helping somebody who's afraid.
Yes.
So I'm not interested in working with people who are not passionate about particular things. It's not my place to help them find passion in something. Ultimately, you know, they've got to be passionate people. You got to
kindly actually giving away. Is it 3 copies or 2, Andy? Was it? 3?
Oh, we'll give them. What we're going to do? What we're going to do is we give away 3 copies for your competition.
Wonderful.
But everybody else, whether they are in this competition or not, everybody else, we're going to give away a free copy. All they've got to do is just pay for me to ship it to them. That's all.
Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, guys, there's a competition form under the video. So, right, so if you're in the UK, it'll be in WS Smiths or something for £10.
Yeah, £10.99, WS Smiths, or you know, from Amazon.
Yes.
Waterstone.
But it'll be all you have to do is pay for free shipping for delivery.
Yes, so they can get a copy of this book from me.
Yes.
And all they've got to pay is £4.99.
Excellent. Anywhere in the world?
But anywhere in the world.
Oh, lovely.
One off, which means I'm losing money on that, but that's fine. £4.99 anywhere in the world. That's to cover the shipping and handling. And we've got a free gift in there as well, which is another product of mine called Winning Webinars, which is how to design, develop, and deliver winning webinars to help to position your business, and also sell stuff online as well. So that's an 18 different instructional videos which we sell for nearly 500 quid. We're basically giving that for free to anyone who buys the book. Well, they're not really buying the book, it's free. You're just paying £4.99 for the shipping and handling. That's absolutely very, very generous of you. Thank you so much. Is that special for Dream Show viewers? You got to do special, yes. Excellent. Right, and the website for that is just the name of the book. So passionintoprofit.co.uk. There's a video there when you get that. It talks about the book, and then you can see the free gift that we're giving you as well, and then you can just pop in your details, and it's all done. Yeah. Excellent, excellent, guys. That's absolutely fabulous. And the link is under Andy's. You can see it under the lower third as well. Okay. Oh yes. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Andy. It's very, very generous of you. So going a little bit more, Andy, we're going up to about 45 minutes. Are we okay for a few minutes more? We're all good. My tea is getting cold, but we're good. Well, we're good. Okay. All right. A few minutes. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay. A few minutes more. Okay. So Andy, I mean, when someone starts as an entrepreneur, they start seeing a bit of success. How do you actually start increasing your net worth? I mean, with your network, so hanging out with like multi-millionaires and billionaires, and how do you get into that area and help your growth there and make friendships and partnerships, joint ventures? Can you give us a bit of insight about that? Yeah, it's easy. I mean, that's all of these things. They're bloody easy. At the end of the day, look, let's say you are currently a 10-aire. Yes. Which means you're hanging out with people who've got £10 in their savings account. Well, guess what you do next? You hang out with 100-aires. So you then start hanging out with people who've got £100 in their bank account. Yes. And then after you've mixed with 100-aires, you start mixing with 1,000-aires, with people who've got thousands of pounds saved in their bank account. And then you move to millionaires. So, you can't. I'll say it's not fair. You can't say you can't move. People who are making, let's say, 28,000 a year. Are you going to start hanging out in the circles of multi-millionaires? No, probably not. But what you can start doing is trading yourself up and start hanging out with people who make 50,000 a year. Right. And once you hang out with some 50,000ers, guess what? 1 or 2 of them will know someone who's making 100,000, and you hang out with those. And guess what? Some people who make 100,000 know a millionaire. So that's how you do it. Like all things, you just trade your way up. Does that make sense? Absolutely, absolutely. Is it quite important to go to events and things like that and invest in actually attending live events and things like that? I mean, has that helped you? No, not really. Sorry to be a bummer of the industry. I maybe sort of doing myself a disservice here because I run events myself. But look, successful people most of them don't attend events anyway. So, the really rich ones, the really successful ones, don't always attend events. What you have to, they sometimes do as well, of course. That's not to say they don't, but it's not your primary place. Right. What you've got to do is search out and find those people that are within your network currently and just start networking there. You don't have to do it at an event. You can do an event as well. It doesn't have to be an event. Right. Everywhere. It's happening all the time. What I say is send out communications. Send them out. Send them out. Lots of people will be ignored. Lots of them will never see, but send out Facebook messages. Send out posts. Reach out. There's the internet there, right? So just reach out. Yes. And find a way to give give and you shall receive. Don't ask and you shall receive. So don't go with them saying, hey, you know, can you promote my product? Hey, can you promote my product?
Yes.
The question should be, hey, I love your stuff. How can I promote your product? It should be the other way around. You know, you came to me, you didn't say, hey, can we get together and can you promote my product? You said, hey, can I help you with your goals? Is there something I can help you with? Is there a way we can work together, for example? So, you know, there is a win-win. And whenever you say it's a win-win, the hand should always be with the other person first. Shouldn't be win-win. It should be win-win. Make sense? You make them win first and then you win.
Excellent point. Yeah.
Improve, you know, your own self-concept of you will have something of value you can offer this person. It doesn't mean to say everyone's going to be interested, but keep on giving to people. Eventually someone will say yes, and then you're off and running, and you've got a relationship where if you give and you serve and you make a difference, then most likely they'll want to reciprocate. So there we are.
That's absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy that you highlighted that, Andy, because this is what I say to people. I say, look, you know, you don't need money to start. This is just an excuse. You can build up so much assets that are not monetary, but assets like doing something for someone. It becomes like a favor, and then you can kind of like, you know, say, okay, you know, this is what I'm doing for you.
Myself and your subscribers.
Excellent.
And that's a brilliant way to do business. So, you know, I'm sure it's not just me, but all the people you've interviewed, I'm very certain, have found you very unique and different. You've served them, you've helped them, and that's helped your business, those people, and they gave me testimonials, and of course that enormously helped my profile, which helped me, therefore, to help more and serve more people.
And also, Andy, I think it's about understanding your market as well, isn't it? Understanding knowledge-wise, like doing that extra work to kind of, you know, be that exceptional kind of person, resource, you know, like when you were helping people, you must have studied a lot to kind of figure out all this new stuff and teach it forward, because that's another thing people don't understand. They don't understand that they have to master what they're teaching first as well.
Yeah, but that's what passion will do for you. If we're passionate about it, then you'll go the extra mile 12 times over, because it's not work. It's not work. It's passion. It's completely different. So if you spend time doing something you love, you'll do it a lot. If you do it a lot, you'll get good at it. If you get good at it, you get paid well for it. So there you are.
Excellent, excellent. Right, we're coming to the end of the show. Just a couple more questions I'm going to squeeze in, and before we end it off, right? So another few minutes more, Andy. Forgive me. But okay, network marketing, Andy. A lot of people don't have their own products. How do you see network marketing? This question is coming from Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, for joining the show. And what is your view on network marketing? Is it something that you should get started with? What is how do you feel it is like in the industry like?
Yeah, network marketing is great. Again, you know, it's an opportunity to create your own business. You know, product's not supplied by you. You're effectively a salesperson for the organization with a bit more control. Yes. It's a good model to get you started. Robert Kiyosaki likes network marketing companies. I like them too. It's just another model to get yourself out there. You know, ultimately, you know, it's better if you create your own product and service. But there's, you know, if as an in-between step, I think it's a really great way to hone your skills, to build a business. Of course, you've got a bit of risk if the business suddenly decides to close, or, you know, their products go wrong or something. You've got a bit of risk there. But there's risk inherently in any kind of business. So, yeah, perfect. Great. You'll hone your skills enormously doing network marketing. The key, though, to great network marketing is to leverage, again, going back to your word you highlighted earlier, which is, look, you know, don't sell one-to-one, sell one-to-many all the time. Right. Don't be doing one-to-one individual meetings, because if you can put together a presentation that means, whether it's online for a webinar, or whether it's, you know, in person to 100 people, you know, if you're competing with, you know, somebody in your company that's only speaking one-on-one, well, you're 100 times more effective. So get the presentation skills, get the pitch skills, get the persuasion skills down, and work one-to-many.
Excellent, and that will actually make you different from the other distributors as well, because they are selling the same products as you, and there are thousands of them. So you have to kind of stand out as well. Yeah, and
it's all about positioning. It's all about positioning.
Positioning, excellent. So just find that unique kind of way that you can deliver these products. Add a bonus or something, I don't know.
Well, I mean, sometimes they're restricted in what they can do. Yeah. That's the nature of network marketing sometimes, but you can work one-to-many. You might not be able to throw other products in there, but you can always work one-to-many rather than one-to-one. It's all about leverage, working intelligently rather than just working hard.
Excellent, excellent. Right, now we've got Alice. She's saying, is there any good time to launch a book? Do you have to be a well-earned person to launch a book, or can anyone do it at any stage to position themselves in a market of interest?
Well, if you're in a self-published book, then you can do it at any time. The reason why I say that is because if you want to go for an author, if you want to be a published author, well, the big secret about publishers is they are only interested in you if you've got a platform. They don't care how good the book is. Well, they do care a little bit. But what they care about more is, do you have a platform, which means that, you know, can you sell books? Because guess what? Publishers can't sell books. They're not very good at it. They're good at placing a book, printing the book, and placing it in a store, but that's about as far as it goes. What they're interested in is, can your personality, can your platform, whether that's your Facebook following, your email list, or whatever, your distribution channel, how good is that? Can you shift books? Because that is where they're get most excited. Of course, if you're self-published, it doesn't matter. You can do it at any time. And again, don't worry about being a finished article before you start publishing a book or publishing your ideas to help other people, because you know what positions you today as an expert is your experiences in life, which are, for most of us are, you know, often negative experiences where you've had to figure something out. Now, as long as you're a few steps ahead of somebody else, then you can be an expert for that person. Don't worry about, forget this whole idea of needing to be, you know, serving millions of people. If you can say to yourself honestly, look, if I can help one person with what I know, if you focus on that, then you go like, you know what, I'm of value, I have service, and then you can just replicate it with more and more people. So, you know, don't worry about, you know, am I good enough compared to Tony Robbins, or am I good enough compared to Richard Branson? Don't compare yourself with people that's not fair to compare yourself with. Forget the comparison thing. Just go out and focus on other people, find a way of serving those people and helping them, and then over the time you'll figure out how to leverage that and make loads of money from it. So, yeah, is it a good time to write a book? Yeah, now. Do it now.
Excellent. And you've got material as well, I think.
Oh, look, I think word of mouth is fine, but it better not be your only and primary source of leads.
Yes. Okay.
Most people, if I say, someone says, what's your best lead source? They go, word of mouth. I say, okay, you're poor, aren't you? Because you have to invest money to make money. So you've got to be generating your own lead machine, which means really you've got to start mastering the online world. If you don't know how to pay for advertising on Facebook or YouTube or Google, for example, and make that work for you, then make that investment today. Learn how to generate ads. There's a reason why ads are popular and used, because they work. So if you're not investing any money in adverts to drive people to your website, then basically you're not even in the game. So yes, it's nice to have a website and have people recommend you and stuff, but you're going to get trickles and trickles of people, etc., etc. So what you have to do is find a way of knowing you can generate leads on an ongoing basis. So you know, you've got to master the platforms that are out there. It's not complicated. It's no more difficult than driving a car, and you don't risk the fear of dying, so it's probably a good thing to do.
Absolutely fantastic. Right, well, Andy, we're coming to the end of the show, and it's been absolutely brilliant. You've been an absolute star, giving us so much information. But as the mission of the show, Andy, is to help people create that one change on the show that they can actually impact in their personal and business life, that actually transcends to generations. So I'm looking to kind of impact people with a big change here. So if they haven't picked anything up so far, and you were asked this question, one change that someone can actually do today, what would that be?
Well, for business owners that are already business owners, employ somebody else in the next 30 days.
Right. Excellent.
Bite the bullet and employ an administrative person or a salesperson. Because look, here's the news. You pay them at the end of the month, right? You don't pay them at the beginning of the month. You pay them at the end of the month. So if you employ them on the 1st, is that today?
It's the second today.
Okay, so if you employ them today, it's okay. You don't have to pay them until like the 28th or something of the month, right? The 30th of the month. That's a whole 4 weeks they work for you for free. Amazing. And what that means is, in that 1 month, you then got to make enough money from the release that it gives you. And if they're a salesperson, they make the money for you as well, which is pretty good. They've got to make 1 sale, 2 sales maybe. I don't know the men that have done much, you're selling your product or service for, in order to pay you for their seat. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So just have a bit of faith and believe yourself and employ someone. Now, if you're not a business owner right now, that means you're an employee.
Mm-hmm.
Burn your bridge
Mm-hmm.
and leave your job in the next 30 days. Now, if that doesn't change your friggin' life, I don't know what will.
Guys, absolutely fantastic, Andy. Thank you so much. Well, Andy, as you are on the I Have Dream show, I have to ask you, what is your dream?
What is my dream?
Yes.
My dream is to create something that outlives me. So I want to create an organization that will still be here long when I've gone. The reason I'm so passionate about what I do, the reason I've spent time here on this call tonight, is because, I'd like to believe the people listening in, if I were to die tomorrow, that actually they would be a bit moved by it, upset by it. They go, oh shit, that was a bit odd.
Uh-huh.
So much they might send, a message to my family, one of my 5 and soon to be 6 children, to say something like, well, I didn't really know him, but you know what, he was different, he was special, he stood out, he made a difference.
Wonderful.
And I'd like to, to create this idea that, there's loads of people afraid of public speaking. There are people that don't present well. And, I don't want that to be a problem for you. I don't want people to be afraid of public speaking anymore. Why be afraid of speaking in public? How ridiculous. That really what that says, I'm afraid of expressing and being myself. That's really what it says.
Yeah.
Which means, and we need that. We need people to express themselves and be themselves.
Yeah.
I think the more that we can have a healthy debate about that and express ourselves and communicate from a place of love, not a place of control or fear, if we can come from that place, I think the communication in the world would be a much better place. We wouldn't have the wars and the challenges that we have right now. So for me, that's what I'm trying to do, create something good in the world that outlives me, so that when I'm gone, there's just a little bit of me still here.
That's absolutely beautiful. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Andy, for sharing that with me and the audience. You really, really, really inspired us today. And also, Andy, can I just ask you for the last question, just to close the show off? How do you view money now? I mean, you've obviously expressed that it's a lot more than making money now. I mean, you've experienced wealth. You've experienced, comfort for your family, and, you buy things. How many things are you going to buy? What is it really about?
It's a game.
Right.
It's a game. It's a bit like, that's a bad metaphor really, but, the fun is in the chase. Like when you're chasing your partner in the beginning, the fun's all in the chase, isn't it? It's all in the chase, the thrill of trying to succeed. And money is just one of those measurements that we use by which we measure, how much service we. That's the beauty of it. When it's a game, it changes the game, because now, it's a game you can play with fun. There's winning, there's losing, there's learning. It's just like playing a board game of Monopoly or something. I don't know. It's just a game. So enjoy the game, but most importantly, get in the game. If you're not in the game, get in this game. It's so much fun, man. Come on, get in the game.
Fun. It is fun. It's amazing. Each day is different, new experiences. It's brilliant. But Andy, thank you so much. I mean, a warm, warm, warm thank you for coming and sharing your story and inspiring us with business knowledge and all this that you've actually shared and spent with us. Over the hour now. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
That's all right. So remember the book here. If you haven't got it, have you done this draw? How's this draw working out? You're doing that privately?
Yes. They just opt in, and then I'm just going to choose. The computer chooses 3 winners, and then I'll send them to you. And
okay,
then we've got that, and then the rest of the people they can pay, go to the website, right?
Yeah, so if you haven't done already, the website is passionintoprofit.co.uk, and so you can get the book completely free there. And you just pay for £4.99 to get it shipped anywhere in the world. And there's a free gift for you there, which is our winning webinars product as well. So there we are.
That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Andy, for that. Well, guys, as you can see, there's another story for you. Another dream chaser chased his dreams and is increasing his dreams. It never stops, guys. It just never stops. Entrepreneurs just keep on growing. Even after hitting goals, there's another mountain to climb and another one. You know, just carry on going. But I hope this show has inspired you today about chasing your passion, you know, finding something that you, well, actually, I think Andy's kind of highlighted it in a different way now.
Passion is profit. Live with passion.
Yeah, just be passionate about anything that you want to do and just go for it and impact lives and create a difference, which is what it's really, really about.